Today on Stock Charts in Focus, we're digging into the latest and greatest with a complete guided tour of StockCharts ACP. That's our new interactive advanced charting platform. So much has changed in such a short amount of time with this platform since the original launch about a year ago. Now, we've highlighted many of those new features here on the show many times, but it's been a while since we've done a complete tour of everything that's in the platform. So because so much has changed, we thought it would be a great opportunity to dig in, show you everything that you can do in ACP, give you a tour of the new platform. Of course, you know what it is. It's all new. It's all here. It's Stock Charts in Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show, Stock Charts in Focus, our product focus show here on StockCharts TV, where we dig into the site, dive into the features, show you around the tools, and of course, have some fun in the process, making sure that you're getting the most value possible out of StockCharts. If it's new, we're going to cover it here. And on a day like today, we are covering a whole bunch of new things that have happened in the last year with ACP. That's our new interactive advanced charting platform. Of course, my name is Grayson Roze. I am the Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. If you are new to the show, welcome, welcome. We do this every Friday, digging into the site, diving into the features, showing you tips, tricks, tutorials, and of course, in the process, I also get to show you how I personally use StockCharts. So if you are new to the show, remember we do this every Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on StockCharts TV. If you are joining us again, though, from a previous episode, welcome back. And if you are new to ACP or if you've been using the new platform for a little while now, I think this is going to be a great episode for you. Today, we're really going to give you that complete guided tour. Make sure that you're aware of kind of where everything is around ACP, what everything does, and kind of how you can incorporate this into your process. A lot to cover on today's show as we get into this guided tour of the new platform. So let's get right to it. So welcome to StockCharts ACP, again, our new interactive advanced charting platform. If you are unfamiliar with ACP, what we've built here is a much more dynamic, interactive charting experience than you're used to. But on top of that, what we've really designed and what we've tried to do with ACP is build a true platform. So as you're going to see, you have everything all in one place, your charts, your scans, your alerts, your lists, your market data, even StockCharts TV built right into this platform. Everything that you need is really here for you in ACP, making it a true one-stop shop. You can do everything that you need right from the platform. So as you'll see, we're going to get into all of the different features, make sure that you're aware of everything. But this is kind of the standard look. When you first come to ACP, you're going to have a chart on the screen right in the middle, and you are generally going to have the left-hand sidebar open, set to the chart settings menu. So this is kind of the standard look when you first come to ACP. When we close this down though, if I click this little blue box, what we can see now is that the chart has taken over the full screen and we have all of these different icons around the screen. So in today's video, what we're really going to do is kind of walk around all the different corners of ACP, make sure that you're aware of what's there, how everything works, and how you can start to incorporate this into your process, how you can start to build your own custom charts, your own layouts, your own lists, all of that good stuff right here from ACP. Before we do that though, I want to talk to you a little bit about the dynamic experience of ACP itself. So again, here in ACP, we've built an interactive charting experience, unlike what we've had with our traditional SharpCharts tool. SharpCharts is a much more static view of the markets. You're kind of loading up a chart and it's on the screen. You can refresh that chart, but it's not really going to change on you. In ACP, that is very, very different. So your cursor almost becomes an extension of your hand, allowing you to really kind of reach out, grab the screen, grab the chart, and manipulate it in any way that you want. So as long as you've got what we call fit to window mode turned on, you can scroll up and down on the chart to actually zoom out and zoom in. And you can scroll left and right on the chart to zoom back and forth through time, to sort of move back in time, move forward in time. You have all of these dynamic controls available to you simply by using your cursor. Now you can also do fun things like manipulate the y-axis. So for instance, you can click and grab on the y-axis to change the scaling right there on your chart quite dynamically. And you have these controls at the very bottom to move back and forth by a single bar and then jump right back to the right side of the screen, the latest data on the chart in a single click. So with those interactive controls, those dynamic controls here in ACP, you have a lot of flexibility for zooming in and out, moving through time. Maybe you want to see a specific move around an indicator or around a moving average. You want to zoom in on a specific bar or a specific candle, and then zoom back out to your bigger, broader chart. ACP allows you to do those kind of creative movements right there dynamically on the chart without having to go muck with settings and date ranges and all that kind of stuff. So the biggest and most important thing that you're going to want to explore when you first come to ACP are those dynamic controls. Again, moving back and forth through time, zooming in and out, all of that fun stuff. Now, once you've kind of played around with some of those interactive features, you're going to want to take a look at all of the different areas of the platform. So what I want to do right now is kind of break down the different corners, the different sections, and then we'll actually go through in detail each different area of the platform. So up at the top, you can see the symbol entry box, pretty straightforward there. In this case, we're looking at TEAM, T-E-A-M, Atlassian Corp. That is the ticker symbol for Atlassian TEAM. So we've typed that into the ticker symbol box. If we wanted to change the symbol, all we have to do is come up to this box right here, type in a different ticker symbol, hit enter, and we are off to the races. So super simple to change the symbol to anything that you want. Next to that, we have what I like to call sort of the structural components of building your chart. So you've got the period menu. You can choose daily, weekly, monthly, or any of those intraday periods, as well as quarterly and yearly charts at some of our higher service levels. Lots of different period options to choose from. You can choose your chart type, candlesticks, bar charts, even things like the Elder Impulse System, performance charts, candle volume charts, lots of different chart type options. And then we have the range menu, which is actually a pretty interesting one here in ACP. Because time is much more fluid in the sense that you can scroll back and forth through time and zoom in and out on your charts, the range concept is a little bit different than SharpCharts. In SharpCharts, you're actually setting the range of your chart, and that's not going to change on you. We have a range menu here in ACP, though, which makes it really easy to get to specific ranges that you might want to see. So shorter term timeframes like 5 days or 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, all the way up to a 100-year range. So if you want to move the chart into a specific range, you want to see a specific amount of data, you can do that simply by choosing anything from this range menu. For instance, if we wanted to look at a 2-year chart here of team, all we have to do is hit that 2 years. And now we're looking at 2 years worth of data. You'll see that actually gets loaded up into this menu here at the top of the screen as well. If we wanted to zoom this down to a 1 year, really easy to move into those specific ranges. And from there, we can still scroll back and forth. You'll see that range menu changes. And so now we're looking at a different range. Again, if we want to get back to sort of the right side of the screen, make sure that we're lined up with the latest data, all we've got to do is come down and hit this little reset icon right there. So really easy to set up your chart using some of these sort of structural buttons up at the top. Now from there, we're going to move into the left side of the platform. Again, when you first visit ACP, one of the first things that you're going to have open is the chart settings menu. This is where you're setting up your chart with all of the different indicators and overlays that you want to see. So in this case, we've loaded up this chart with a pretty basic view. We've got a couple of moving averages, as you can see right here, but we don't actually have any indicators on this chart. So we're going to go ahead and start to build out this chart with a couple of indicators and overlays and show you how you can start to customize your chart views here in ACP. Before we do that though, one thing that I want to point out is the all-important sort of highest level chart settings menu that you have access to. So you've got individual chart settings for all of the different indicators and overlays that you're going to add, as you'll see in just a second. But for the overall chart, we also have a settings menu that you can access to change some of the other structural components of your chart. Now you can access that in two different ways here in ACP. You can click this little gears icon next to the chart name. You can see we have the symbol and the company name right there in the chart settings menu for you. And when you click that little gears icon, you'll be taken over to this sort of highest level chart settings menu for the chart as a whole. This is where you can access things like the y-axis scale if you want to change between logarithmic and arithmetic. You can change the size of your chart header. So for instance, if you wanted this to be a little slimmer, we could zoom this down to be a slim quote, save us a little bit of space here in ACP. We can add extra bars on the right side of the screen, change the grid options. For instance, we can add a grid into this chart to bring some definition in behind the chart itself. We've got lots and lots of different options in here to play with. Some visual as well. So for instance, we have price labels that we can add to the chart. We can add extended hours to this chart and actually view extended hours data if we're looking at an intraday chart. Or if we turn on that extended hours quote on daily and weekly and monthly charts, we'll actually get that pre or post market quote up at the top of the screen. And then we also have, depending on our chart type, candlesticks, OHLC bars, that kind of thing, we have all of the different settings for those specific chart types in here. So lots of different chart settings that you might want to customize on your charts. And those are available, like I mentioned, in two different ways. The easiest one, or the first one that you might go to, is by clicking on that little gears icon. But you can also click on the legend itself right on the chart. So if you had this menu actually closed down and you want to access the chart settings, all you've got to do is come up to here, see Atlassian Corp, we've got the company name right in there. Give that a click and that's going to open up that chart settings menu. So these legends on the chart for your indicators and your overlays are all actually clickable. It makes it really easy to access the settings for anything that you want to customize. We'll see that in just a sec. So we are going to open our chart settings back up and start to add some indicators to this chart. Now, down below what we call the chart skeleton, which you'll see is a sort of mirror image of what's on the chart, we have some gears in here as well. We also have some trash can icons, which makes it really easy to access the chart settings or remove an indicator from your charts. But before we really dive into that, we're going to go ahead and add some indicators to this chart, build it out a little bit before we start to customize some of the settings and move things around. So down below that chart outline, you have the Add Indicator section, which you'll see is actually scrollable. Now, I've gone ahead and favorited some of the indicators that are my go-tos, and you can do that simply by starring anything in this menu. That'll move it right up to the top in your favorites list. Makes it really easy to access that stuff. But you can also use this little search box to find an indicator or an overlay that you are searching for. So let's say we wanted to add the scooter line to this chart. We'll go ahead and add a couple of different indicators, but we'll start with the scooter line. That's our StockCharts technical rank, a fan favorite here on StockCharts. So all we have to do to add this indicator to the chart is come find it in the Add Indicator menu, give it a click, and there we go. We've got the scooter added to our chart right there at the bottom of ACP. Now, when you add an indicator, the Edit Indicator menu will automatically open. Here, you can customize different settings for it. For instance, with the scooter, we could change this to be a blank background if we don't want that colored rainbow background. And we can change the color of the line. For instance, we could make this a blue line instead of a black line. Lots of different options for customizing these indicators. Now, if we wanted to, let's say we added this and then we said, oh, you know what, we don't actually want that. We could actually delete that indicator right from here. We can also open some documentation about that indicator right here. And if we wanted to get the indicator back to its sort of default settings, we've got a reset button right there. It makes it easy to get it back to its original settings. For something like the RSI or the MACD, if you've started to modify some of those settings, this reset button is really helpful. Now, once we've added our indicator and we want to close this down and move on, all we've got to do is hit close or look for the little X up at the top of the screen. So we'll close that down. Now we've got our scooter indicator. Let's say we also wanted to add the RSI. Well, there we go. We've added the RSI. We can start to customize this, maybe change the colors, change our overbought to green, change our oversold to red. And all of these movements, as you can see, are really, really quick, really, really easy here in ACP. So we can start to build out our chart with all of the different indicators and overlays that we want. Now, you will notice, though, that when you add an indicator or an overlay to your charts, generally those indicators will add at the bottom of the screen. But if you wanted to reposition them, let's say we wanted the RSI actually above the price panel, you got a couple of different ways to do that. Really, really easy here in ACP. First and foremost, you can come over to the chart skeleton, the chart settings area here in the chart settings panel, and you can look for these little grab bars that we have next to your indicators. You'll notice that when I hover over that, the cursor changes. I've got a little hand, and I can actually grab that and drag it up to the top of the screen. You'll notice that we get these little yellow indicators to show you exactly where you're positioning something. So in this case, if I drop it right now, I've got the RSI now moved to the top of the screen up above the primary price panel. The other way to do this, though, again, is simply by using the legends on the chart. So I can actually come over here, grab the RSI, click and drag it down. And if I wanted to move it right below, there we go. Now I've moved the RSI dynamically simply by grabbing that indicator and moving it around the screen. So lots of dynamic controls, interactive features here in ACP that makes it a ton of fun to start customizing your charts. And again, once you've done that and then you start zooming in and out, moving through time, it is just a blast to use these dynamic features here in ACP, one of the things that I truly enjoy. Now from there, you've kind of set up your chart with the overlays and the indicators that you want. You've got a couple of different options for customizing this chart even further. One of the big ones is your color scheme. So when you open up this next little icon down, it looks like a little paint fill can there. We've got the color schemes menu. You can choose from dark schemes, light schemes, even some specialty schemes that we've got in here. You can open any of these up. And again, all you have to do is click something in this menu to change the look of your chart. So for instance, if we wanted to change this to be a colorful border instead of that gray border that I had, you'll notice that all I did was click that blue gray. And now we've changed this chart to be a different color scheme. Tons and tons in here to choose from. You can see we've got lots and lots of light schemes to play with. We've also got lots of dark schemes to play with. There is a ton in here to explore as you start to really customize the look of your ACP charts. Now the next icon up is our ChartStyles menu. So when you look for that paintbrush icon and open that up, once you've customized a chart with all of the different indicators and overlays and settings that you want, chances are you might want to save that. You might want to actually come back to that chart in the future. So it's really easy to save all of those chart settings, the indicators, the overlays, all the settings that you customize for the scale, the color of your candlesticks, all of that can be saved to what we call a chart style. Depending on your service level, you can save lots of different chart styles to your account. And at the very top of this chart styles panel, you'll notice that you actually have a your styles area. So if we open that up, here are all the dozens of styles that I've personally saved in my account. Lots and lots of different customizations. I personally like to save chart styles for different security types, different time frames, different sort of analysis methods. I've got specialty styles for things like rate of change and Bollinger Bands, and lots of different views that I want to view over and over again for different symbols. And it's a ton of fun to go customize your charts, build everything with all the different settings that you want, save those as a chart style, and you can come back to them easily in the future. Again, it's simple. Once you've created a chart style, all you have to do to save it is get it set up exactly the way that you want. Open up this chart styles panel, look for that big green button at the very bottom, hit save, and you'll be able to actually set a name for that chart style and save it to your account. Really, really easy. Now you also have the option to update an existing chart style. So if you've saved something, you make some changes to it, make some edits, you can actually come in here, hit that Save Chart Style button again, come over to Update Existing, and then actually select it from the menu. So you can overwrite any of the chart styles that you have saved. Again, it's really easy to come in here. Once you've created a chart style, for instance, we can kind of get back to that original view that we were looking at. All I got to do is click it in this menu, and it's going to get that chart back to whatever the chart style I've saved is. We've also got tons of options in here for sample styles. You can see strategies for different technical strategies you might want to use, different time frames, for instance, intraday, daily, weekly, and monthly, trading styles, and of course, we've got a whole bunch built around different experts on the site. So lots of samples that you can actually come here and play with to get a sense of what ACP can do. Now, from there, you might want to draw some annotations on your chart. So of course, we've got an annotations tool. You can open that up here on the left side of the screen, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got tons of different line tools, text tools, shape tools, and technical studies down at the bottom. You can set the look of any of those annotations up here at the top. For instance, changing the color if you wanted to make it purple, changing maybe the line thickness, lots of different options depending on the annotation that you've selected. You can draw those annotations on your chart and then actually save them with the chart simply by coming up here to the top right corner of the screen and saving them to a specific list. We'll show you that in just a second. Before we jump over there though to sort of the other corner of the screen, we want to cover one of the biggest, most powerful features in ACP, which is layouts. Now, we could do an entire video just on layouts alone. There's a ton to cover here. But the short of it is, in ACP, you have the ability to create multi-chart layouts with up to 12 charts on the screen at once. So you can create incredibly powerful views with tons of different charts up on the screen, and it's really, really easy to do this. All you've got to do is come over here and look for this Create Layout menu. Choose the number of charts that you want to put up on the screen. For instance, if you wanted 4 charts on the screen, you select that. Now you've got all of these different orientations to choose from. So it's a ton of fun to come in here, play around with the different layout options, and build these different views really, really easily here in ACP. So all you've got to do to create one of these is actually click the orientation that you want. For instance, we could click this 4-panel layout. Now we've got 4 charts up on the screen all at once. And again, you can do that with up to 12 charts on the screen. So you can create these 3x4 grids here in ACP. Pretty cool, pretty powerful what you can do with these layouts. And again, we've wanted to make this really, really easy for you to use and get a sense of. So we've actually created a sample layout section in here in this panel. So we've got lots of different layouts for you to choose from. For instance, a major market indexes layout, which has a couple of specific indexes saved into it. We've got an intermarket analysis layout, which is incredibly fun to use, built on John Murphy's approach to the market with all of these different asset classes and a couple of ratio charts over here on the right. So you can get a sense of how powerful these layouts can be by coming over and checking out some of these sample layouts. You've got a couple of multi-chart settings down here to play with. So for instance, if you loaded up 12 charts on the screen and you wanted to apply the same chart style to all of them or the same range to all of them, you can turn on some of these settings and use that. Or if you wanted to do maybe 3 charts up on the screen, a daily, a weekly, and a monthly, and actually have all of those charts set to the same symbol and have them all update at once in sort of one quick go. When you change the symbol of one, you change the symbol of all of them. You can turn on this symbol sync option actually, which is going to allow you to really easily change all of the charts on the screen that have the same symbol. So lots of multi-chart options here for that layouts tool. I've had a blast playing around with this. It's become an incredibly powerful tool. For instance, I'm going to show you in just a second, you can actually run scans here in ACP. So what I love to do is put a daily up on the screen and a weekly up on the screen and then flip through those scan results and see both of those for the same symbol at once in a really, really easy to use way. It's pretty fun to do some things like that. Now, I do want to mention, you can also save your layouts once you create something that you want to actually come back to in the future. Just like ChartStyles, you can save those to your account, and you actually have the option to save symbols with them as well. So when you save a layout, you'll actually have all of those appear up here at the top, similar to your ChartStyles. You've got all of your different layouts that have symbols saved to them down below, and all of your different layouts that have no symbols saved to them up top. So some of these layouts might be specific market analysis things, and you want specific symbols saved to those. Some you might want to just use to sort of fill in symbols as you go. So that's where you can save them without the symbols applied. So we will have more videos on layouts specifically because, again, there is a whole deep dive that we could do on layouts alone. Lots to cover there. Now, finishing up on the left side of the screen, down at the very bottom, you've got a couple of other options. If you want to create an image of your chart, maybe share it out on social media or send it to a friend, you can actually use the little camera icon down at the bottom. You can either download it as a PNG, or if you want to print your ACP chart, you can use that right there. You can also send a permalink of any ACP chart simply by clicking that little arrow at the bottom. You can copy and paste this link, again, send it to a friend, bookmark it, save it, share it, do anything you want with that link. The final option over here in ACP at the bottom left is the Create Alerts feature. So you can actually create alerts for any symbol that you're watching, including things like ratio symbols. We've got tons and tons of different options for what you can create alerts on. If you can chart it, you can create an alert on it, and you can do that actually right from ACP. So you can open this up, choose your trigger, whether you want to be alerted when something crosses above or crosses below, and then enter a specific price. Now, one of the things that we've done to make this even easier though, for instance, we've got a chart here on the screen. And you notice that when I hover over this chart with the Create Alert panel open, the crosshairs actually turn on. So to enter a price for a specific alert point that I want, for instance, if we had wanted, maybe back here, we wanted an alert at this sort of breakout point when this made a new high, VTI made a new high, we can actually just hover over the chart, give it a click, and you'll notice that the price is actually input right in there. From there, we can choose our notification type, hit save, and we're off to the races. We've got a new alert created for our account. So super easy to set alerts for anything you're watching here in ACP. And to do that, you just got to look for this little alerts icon over on the bottom left. On the right side of the screen, we're going to move over to the other side. You've got a whole bunch of panels over there to play with. Some are a little bit more data oriented, and some are account features, for instance, chart list. So we're going to start at the very top and run through these. Up at the top, you'll notice that you have a little chart lists icon, and when you open that up, this is how you access your chart lists within ACP. So just like the SharpCharts world, you can create chart lists full of all the charts that you are watching, save charts into those lists, save symbols into those lists. You can create chart lists for your portfolio, for specific market groups that you want to watch, maybe your watch list, thing that you're thinking about buying, things that you're thinking about selling, anything that you want to create a list for, you can do that here in ACP. To access that, all you've got to do is open up this chart list panel, come down to the very bottom, and click that new chart list button at the bottom of that panel. From there, you can enter a new name for your chart list, any notes about it that you want as well. Hit the big green button in that modal to create that new list, and you're off to the races. Now, once you've created a list, it's going to look something like this. You can choose which list you're viewing up at the top. For instance, here is what I call my tier 1 watch list. I can select my list here, and then I've got all of the different symbols in this list right here for me. To pull up a chart of any of these, all I've got to do is click the item in the list, and that'll pull up that chart right there on the middle of the screen. Now, you can save a chart with all of the different settings, but you can also view anything from a list with the active chart that you have up on the screen. So let's say I had saved a whole bunch of different indicators and overlays with one of these symbols. For instance, we'll do Ballard Power. So imagine that I've created a chart for Ballard Power that has a whole bunch of indicators and overlays saved with it. Now, if I've got this much more simple chart on the screen, I might want to view Ballard Power with this chart and not with all of those indicators and overlays. So to do that, I can actually come up to the top, hit Load Symbol Only, and now when I click Ballard Power, it's just going to pull in the ticker symbol. It's not actually going to pull in all of those different charts and chart settings, overlays, indicators, all the other chart settings, things like that. So that Load Symbol Only feature allows you to sort of overwrite what the saved chart has with it. If you did want to save a chart though, all you've got to do, as we mentioned before, come up to the top right corner of the screen, hit that little save button. You can choose which list it goes into, set a chart name, and add any comments. So really easy to create these lists here in ACP and save your charts to them. Now, you've got one other important option that I want to point you to for these chart lists here in ACP, and that is what we call the drawer. So at the bottom of this panel, you've got a couple of different options. You've got delete the list, add notes to the list, edit it, things like that. You've also got an add symbols option, so you can actually come in here and add symbols to this list. But the other one that you have is what we call the drawer. So this little button opens the chart list drawer, and when you do that, you get a larger view at the bottom of the screen for this chart list. So this brings up a larger data table here with things like market cap, volume, scooter numbers, sector, and industry. And all of this can be sorted simply by clicking on anything in the list that you want to sort. So for instance, if we wanted to sort by sector, there we go. If we wanted to sort by scooter, there we go. All we've got to do is click anything in this list. So opening up this drawer allows you to sort of work with your chart lists in a larger view. You've got some other important features here for your chart lists, like chart comments. You can actually select a specific chart from a specific list and leave a comment on it. You can also leave notes for your chart list. So select a list right here, add a note, leave any notes that you want on that list. And when it comes time to edit things, maybe you want to add something, you want to remove something, you want to apply some specific styles to anything in the list. Just like the SharpCharts world, you've got that edit panel right here with everything in the list. So it makes it really easy to come in here and start to edit these lists. You can select anything, and then you notice that these buttons at the bottom brighten up. You can move, copy, and merge things around. You can delete items from a list, and you can also apply a specific chart style to anything that you've selected from this list with that little purple button right there. All you've got to do is check that and then hit this button, and you've got the apply chart style modal that pops up, allows you to apply a specific chart style to anything in a list. So lots of editing options right here. Now the drawer itself is also sort of customizable in the sense that you can click and drag on this black bar and actually move this up and down. So if you wanted the drawer to be pretty thin, you can move it down. If you wanted it to be a little bit taller, you can move it up. And you can even maximize it in a simple click. So if you click this little button right here, you can maximize the size of the drawer, takes up the full screen, makes it really easy to work with those lists, leave chart comments, list notes, those kinds of things. And then you can shrink it back down to its original size. You can also shrink this drawer down to just be sort of a thin bar across the bottom of the screen right there with that little arrow. And when it comes time to close it, all you've got to do is X out of the drawer, and there you go. You've got that drawer away, and you've sort of put the drawer away, closed it fully, and if you want to open it back up, it's really easy to do right there from the chart list panel. You can also pull in any of your SharpCharts chart lists here in this panel. So you come over here, select SharpCharts from this tab, and any of the lists that you've saved in sort of the previous world, the SharpCharts world outside of ACP, those will actually get pulled in right here. So it makes it really easy to sort of migrate processes over to ACP. Any of these SharpCharts lists can also be saved as a new ACP chart list, so you have that option down at the bottom. Now from there, we'll run through some of the other options here on the right side of the platform. A little bit quicker because some of these are a little more self-explanatory. You can actually run scans right here from ACP, either your own custom scans, which you can select right here, or if you choose predefined scans, you can select from any of our predefined scans and run those right within ACP. Again, you'll get a list of results back, really quick and easy to get a list of results back. And you can start to click through these, change the symbol very rapidly. It makes it easy to run scans and then flip through those results right here in ACP with the charts right next to your scan results. You can save those to a list, or if you just want to sort of close it out, maybe run a different scan, hit close scan results, and you are back to the start. You also have an alerts panel here on the right, which shows you lots of different predefined alerts that we've fired off, as well as any of your custom alerts that have triggered around stock charts. Below that, we have the symbol summary panel. So for anything that you're charting in the main section of the screen, you've got a symbol summary panel, which gives you access to summarized data, fundamentals, technicals, a little scooter view, and a company profile. So especially when you're researching different companies, this can be incredibly helpful, having that corporate profile there to research what the company does. This complements our symbol summary tool, of course, outside of ACP, which you can actually open with this button down here at the bottom. Now, we mentioned at the start of the show that you've got all the data you could ever need right inside of ACP. It truly is a one-stop shop. So with integrations like our symbol summary and views like our market summary, you can start to see how that works. Here in the market summary panel, you've got the market map up at the top, and then you've got these tabs for what's happening across the major equities, bonds, commodities, and crypto spaces. So this market summary gives you access to market data updated in real time throughout the day when the markets are open. And you've got some pretty interesting views with things like the market map, shows you large, mid, and small cap, and how those different factors are moving: growth, core, and value. Below that, you've got other groups. For instance, the sector spiders. You can open any of these up and pull in data for any of those groups. And you've got lots to choose from: Dow components, different international ETFs, cryptocurrencies, different currencies, commodities, lots of groups to choose from here in the market summary panel. Below that, you might want to dig into the individual stocks that are moving the market. So here in the market movers section, you can choose your group: Dow Jones, S&P 500, the S&P 400, the NASDAQ. All of those are options here. And you can see what's most active, what's the biggest gainer on the day, and what is the biggest decliner on the day. So lots of options to play with here in our market movers panel. Again, complementing some of the features that we have outside of ACP on the members dashboard. Similar concept here with our scooters panel. You can choose your scooter group up at the top: large, mid, small caps, US ETFs, industry groups, anything that you want to see. And then you can see the entire ranked group up here at the top, or just the top 10, the bottom 10, top gainers, and top decliners. So our scooter reports panel over here on the right side gives you access to those scooter reports. You can see what's leading from a technical perspective, what's lagging from a technical perspective for all of our different scooter universes. And finally, we have our ticker cloud. So our ticker cloud, the most popular symbols on StockCharts, updated in real time, and the size of the symbol actually corresponds to how popular it is. So you can scroll through here and again, click anything that is of interest, and you'll get that chart loaded up right there on the screen in a single click. Now, below that, again, something we could spend an entire show on, we have our plugins panel. So we actually have plugins available from a whole bunch of expert contributors. Folks like Larry Williams, Arthur Hill, Dave Landry, some of our closest partners, have been adding indicators to ACP, things that they've dreamed up, things that they've wanted to see for a long time, and they've actually built those into ACP. A lot of them are available for you. You can actually come here and explore all of our different plugins. I personally have almost all of them installed, as you can imagine. But you can click that button at the very bottom of the screen to actually see all of the plugins with a little bit more detail and learn more about each one. But I would highly recommend downloading our advanced indicator pack. It's totally free, gives you an additional 7 indicators added to ACP. And for more information on that, you can click that little card in there. But totally free for StockCharts members. It just adds those additional indicators right into ACP. And then when you come over to the left side of the screen in that Add Indicator menu, you'll see that at the very bottom, you actually get those indicator pack plugins, those plugin indicators loaded up there for you at the bottom. So everything in that advanced indicator pack just shows up right here in the Add Indicator menu, all grouped together. Makes it really easy to find. And if you install any of our other plugins, those will show up as grouped lists here in the Add Indicator menu as well. So plugins, an incredibly powerful feature of ACP, one that a lot of our avid ACP users have absolutely been loving. Now, finally, before we wrap up here, we've got trading actually with our brokerage partner, Tradier Brokerage. You can actually trade stocks and options, unlimited commission-free trading for equities and options right here in ACP. So if you open up a Tradier account, totally free to open one of those up, you can actually start to trade directly from ACP, really connecting your charts to the action that you want to take there, managing your portfolio right from ACP, an incredibly powerful integration that we are so thrilled to have here with Tradier. So again, something we're going to do an entire episode on, an entire video on, coming very soon. But that Tradier brokerage integration, a powerful one to explore if you're interested in actually trading directly from StockCharts. Finally, we have StockCharts TV. So you can click that link at the very bottom and actually open up the StockCharts TV integration right here in ACP. So for instance, if you're a fan of Dave Keller's show, The Final Bar, you can actually load that up here, watch Dave and chart the markets at the same time. Again, using that resizable drawer. So you've got the same options that we covered before. You can slim this down. You can actually close it down and just listen to what's happening on a specific show. And then when you're ready to hear something big, you can pop that up. You get a full featured view of the channel. You can shrink that back down, lots of options for playing around with this StockCharts TV integration. But having access to that 24/7 live channel right here in ACP is something we are thrilled with. Of course, you've also got the show schedule and upcoming guests listed here in the StockCharts TV panel on the right. Now, I do want to mention up in the top corner, we have a help menu, because you're probably saying, wow, there's a ton here. I'm sure there's more to learn. Where can I go for a little bit more help? So I will point you up to the top corner of the screen, that little question mark icon. When you open that up, you've got a tour option that you can actually run through. Shows you around a couple of these different areas if you've missed anything or you want to go back and get a quick reminder. But we've also got our documentation here for ACP. So that's going to continue to expand over time, but we've got lots and lots of documentation to make sure that you're aware of everything you can do with the platform, everything that's there. And as things evolve, as things change, new features, new enhancements come to the platform, those, of course, will be kept up to date in our help doc. So definitely take a look at that. Of course, if you got any questions, you can always contact our support team, and you can do that right through ACP right here. So I want to thank you for joining me on today's episode. I know we covered a ton. There is so much to see in ACP, so much to explore, so much power there. We've really only scratched the surface here with this episode, especially things like layouts, scans, alerts, all of those different features, chart lists in ACP, how to customize your charts, how to set up all your different chart styles. There's so much more that we could cover. So hopefully this has given you a sense of what's there, a quick tour, a sort of a guide to how to move around the platform and understand how to get started in ACP. But again, we are going to continue to do more and more videos on ACP. We've got more things coming to the platform, exciting new plugins, more features, more enhancements, more data, lots happening, of course, here in ACP. We are thrilled with this new platform to have SharpCharts and ACP together, more ways to chart the market. That's what makes us happy. So lots to see here in ACP. Hopefully you've gotten a sense of what is there with today's show. Again, my name is Grayson Roze, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts. I want to thank you for joining me on today's edition of StockCharts in Focus. Remember, we do this every Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so I hope you'll join me for the next episode as we continue to cover the tips, tricks, tutorials, shortcuts, features, tools, everything that you need to know to get the most value out of StockCharts. That's what we do here every Friday on In Focus. So join me again next week for another episode of the show. And until then, chart on, my friends.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.